Hello and welcome to the Save Mind Solution. Today we're going to be looking at good communication. Now, communication is the bedrock of all relationships, whether that's friends, work, family or romantic relationships. Communication affects everything when it comes to relationship. If you have negative communication, it can lead to mistrust and misunderstandings, and that can ultimately end a relationship. Whereas positive communication can actually deepen a relationship. It can also increase empathy and understanding, and also mean a more meaningful connection as a result. It enables a person to understand and empathize and therefore respond in a more productive and appropriate way. To start, I'd like you to ask yourself these three questions. So the first question is, do you feel that you communicate in a healthy way? Question 2, are you able to discuss a difficult issue and come to a resolution, even if that means agreeing to disagree? And question 3, do you really listen to the person talking, or are you just focusing on your reply? Now let's have a look at the first key point, your communication style. I realise that these questions are directed at you, and you may have an issue with somebody else's communication style. But if you're able to have a positive communication style yourself, it can really have an impact on others. And if it doesn't, then maybe you want to send them this video link. How people process words can also differ from person to person. For one person, they may answer straight away without thinking much about it, and that at times can lead to hurt or misunderstanding. Another person may need time to answer, and that might actually cause frustration if a person would like to have an answer or needs to have an answer straight away to be able to process something. So how we process words can really impact a relationship. So we can use the example we've just given for arguments. That's another example where people can have different ways of being. And if you're having an argument and one of you needs it to be resolved straight away and the other person needs some time to process, there can be miscommunication in that. And it's about compromise. A relationships therapist's favourite word, along with awareness, compromise. It's about meeting in the middle and trying to find something that suits the both of you and fulfills both your needs. In this example, I would say to clients to both agree that if or when they argue, they would, instead of leaving the argument frustrated, pressured and unresolved, pause for 30 minutes and then see if they can resolve it in a calmer, more productive way. The client who wanted immediate resolve is relieved that the argument will not yet again stay unresolved, and the client who needs some time to think has been given that time so they don't feel pressured. So we've looked at communication style. Now we're going to look at something that is very often overlooked when we're looking at good communication, and that is tone. So the tone that we use can really change completely the meaning that we put to words. So let me give you an example. If you were to say, I like that top. Now I said it in a fairly neutral way. Now I'd like you to imagine a different tone being used to say those words. So I'd like you to imagine it said in a sarcastic way. So I like that top, with a different tone. So you can see, just by using the tone, you can go from positive, neutral, you can even be threatening, even with the very, very same sentence. So how you use your tone is very important to how you communicate. One of the hardest ones is I call it sand in the hand, because it's basically your word against the other person's. For example, what I mean by that is when somebody says something which you perceive and you feel is negative, and they turn around, I didn't mean it that way. So it's said in a sarcastic or negative tone and you feel it here, and yet they would turn around and say, actually no, I didn't mean it like that, it's you, it was meant in a positive way. That's one of the hardest things. But if it left you with a negative feeling, unless you are very sensitive and you know that this is something that needs working on, then if it's left you with a negative feeling, then it had negative intent behind it. So the third key point in good communication that is often overlooked is listening. So I'm curious, right now, are you looking at TikTok? Are you listening to some music? Are you watching TV? Are you listening to your flatmates and listening to me at the same time? The reason I'm curious and I'm asking is because really listening is actually a skill. When I was training to be a therapist, we spent quite a lot of time on listening, and I remember thinking, this is something that comes naturally to most people. I don't really know why we're spending so much time on it. And then I realized as time went on that I really didn't listen all that well at the beginning. I would interrupt colleagues because I'd be so eager on trying to fix the issue when we're doing practice skills. And also missing on subtle cues, missing on facial expressions, or missing on all the things that go with listening. So that's something that is worth thinking about. Do you feel that you listen completely and fully to the person talking to you? So try these 3 key points. Communication style, have a look at your communication style. Tone, how you speak to others. And listening. Do you interrupt? Do you pick up those cues that people are giving you? And see how that impacts the communication and interaction you have with others. Don't forget to watch my other videos and to press the subscribe button if you'd like to see some more videos on various issues such as anxiety, relationship issues, and also well-being. And thank you for watching.